Okay, I believe we are live. Sharon Murray, how's it going?
I've got my tea.
Got your tea?
And can I just say, I got my hair cut and put lipstick on, specially for this.
Oh, for me or for the group?
Not for you, for the group.
Well, really appreciate it. And I've got no hair, so that's why I've got a cap on, so I don't blind people. But Sharon, I appreciate you coming on. So your company is LinkedIn Elite Limited, right? So you obviously help people on LinkedIn, and it's an interesting one because we spoke last week, I believe it was, and I found LinkedIn to be really beneficial in connecting with companies regarding brush wizards, and it's been a fantastic tool for me. But with regards to my painting and decorating, I haven't kind of used it. So I don't know if you want to just do a quick introduction about yourself first, and then essentially I believe we're going to talk about how LinkedIn can be used for the brush wizards.
Yeah. So thanks very much for having me, first of all. I am Irish, so I can talk. So you just have to say, Sharon, shut the fuck up now. We're fed up listening to. If we're not talking, we're drinking. That's only two things Irish people do. So so I started out as a few years back as a virtual assistant, because that was always my background, admin, PA, and all that type of stuff. And that stage I was 51. No, you can't believe that. You're all in shock.
I can't believe it, honestly.
And I had never used LinkedIn. Everybody said, oh, you need to be on LinkedIn. And I was like, really? I've looked at it. Doesn't look like my cup of tea. Very serious people, very intelligent people. Not really my thing. But in fairness, I did know deep down as a virtual assistant, that was where I should be. So I taught myself LinkedIn. Never any grand plan to, oh, I'm going to be a LinkedIn coach and I'm going to do all this. I literally fell into it. And it was really the pandemic that sort of kicked that off, because that was when people sort of thought, oh, I can't get out now to do face-to-face networking. I'm going to have to suck it up and get on this bloody platform that I hate. But it worked really well for me, obviously, because then I was able to grow the LinkedIn coaching through a time when a lot of businesses were crumbling. I nearly felt guilty that mine was actually doing really well. And it's just as it has expanded from there, coaching, and now I also do a managed service where I manage people's accounts for them, because most people are like, I don't want to do this, but I know I need to be here. You just do it for me.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that. And
yeah,
members, we don't have time for all this social media rubbish, you know.
Well, you know, it's sometimes you have to get to the point where you say, do you know what, I'm going to have to outsource this. That, you know, by the time I would learn how to do this, X, Y, and Z, you know, I would rather focus on what I'm good at and just let somebody else knock themselves out. So that's sort of where I'm at the minute, although there's a few other things that are milling around. We were just talking about this beforehand, how Gary and I have shiny object syndrome. So literally about 2 hours ago, I was having a conversation with somebody else and they were going, Sharon, that's not what we're doing. And I was like, I know, but I really, really want to do that over there. Anyway,
yeah, I'm sure we could talk about more fun stuff than LinkedIn, but, you know, get back to what we're doing.
So what I really want to do today, and with any of these sorts of talks and workshops and different things that I do, Gary, I want people to come away feeling at least, oh, I didn't think of it like that. I might give it a go. That's all I hope that you come away with after watching this today.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
It's not do this, press this, put this here, do that. You can fucking Google all that if you wanted. I want you to feel a bit more inspired to consider at least looking at LinkedIn. Now, I went on LinkedIn last night and looked up painters and decorators. They are on there, but they are doing absolutely nothing with it. Now, you could look at that. That could be a glass half empty or glass half full. That could be, well, obviously painters and decorators don't work on LinkedIn, so sure, we'll not bother doing it. Or it could be, well, fuck me, there's some bloody opportunity here because nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
What I want you to think about, and I've had discussions before with various people about trades on LinkedIn. I do think that there's a massive opportunity there for this reason. If I know this is all a bit stereotypical, but just go with me.
Yeah, go on.
Think about men, shouldn't really say that, but we'll go with this. Men in high-powered jobs who has a yapping wife wanting something fucking painted that they can't be bothered listening to, sitting in work thinking, if she thinks I'm going home to paint that, she's fucking another thing coming. I'm stressed up to the eyeballs with staff and blah blah blah, as I'm sure you know way more about all this than I do, but cannot be seen to be scrolling through Facebook in work, but can be seen to be scrolling through LinkedIn in work. And this is what I'm trying to get through to people's brains. If this man is scrolling through LinkedIn and suddenly a painter decorator turns up in the feed, he's going to go, oh, fuck, happy days, there's that sorted.
Yeah.
And that's, I really think there's an opportunity there. And that's one of the first things that I want people to really sort of take on board and go, oh, yes, that's true. I never thought of that. So hopefully that's immediately sort of sparked a bit of a...
Yeah, that's something I haven't considered before.
That's a valid point. Anybody professional can chance being on LinkedIn during the day because they can just say, oh, I'm looking at something work related, but they can't be fucking sitting scrolling through bloody Facebook and Instagram. That's just maybe a step too far.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I want you to think about. I think that eventually people will catch on. So why not get in now before anybody catches on? I am very passionate about LinkedIn being, I want to see more color and creativity on the platform because everybody moans how boring it is, how drab it is, how black and white it is. Imagine again, people scrolling and suddenly they saw this beautiful picture of something that a room you've just painted. Like that just stands out so much and people will remember that. And it is something that I do want to see more of that. I think there's a place for that on the platform. I think people crave those types of things on the platform. I recently did a whole load of videos. I just act like a fucking dick on LinkedIn. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. And I did a series of videos I challenged myself every single day to do a video for the month of March, and it nearly fucking killed me doing it because I discovered halfway through that actually I'm an introvert and I wanted to hide behind the screen. But anyway, on St. Patrick's Day, I did a video of me pretending to do Irish dancing, like something like I had river dance on in the background. And that got the highest engagement out of anything else that I did because people are just fed up seeing the same stuff over and then they just go, oh, thank God somebody acting a fucking idiot, because they could be sitting in work bored out of their head, their boss has just pissed them off, and as I say, they're on LinkedIn and then suddenly they see something like that. And of course you're going to remember that. They mightn't remember I'm a LinkedIn coach, but they'll go, who was that fucking lunatic that was dancing on St. Patrick's Day? Because that's how we make connections, we remember things like that. So those are the sorts of things that initially I want you to think about. LinkedIn, sorry, were you going to ask any questions or will I just ramble on?
No. I'm making notes as we go along. So just a couple of points. Can you do videos?
Yeah, so there's a thing on LinkedIn called creator mode.
Right.
And you need to have that turned on. I don't want to go into anything too feature practicality wise.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people here aren't even on LinkedIn or whatever. So I don't want to go into too much depth about that. There's a thing called creator mode. If you turn it on, you can do what's called LinkedIn Live, and you can do audio events and different things like that. The way it works is, do you know on Facebook, if you wanted to go live, you just go on your phone, you would click live and you just start talking. Well, LinkedIn's just hasn't got as far as that. You still can do that, but you have to download it afterwards. So it's not live in the fact that somebody could comment. It's not real time, if you know what I mean. It still has to be actually posted after that.
Yeah.
But yes, you can certainly do any of those sorts of things. And something like what you all do and any of those more creative visual type businesses, lends itself obviously more to image, video. You know, it doesn't so much for me, and I don't tend to do a lot of that type of thing because mine's much more text based. But I do think that you know, when you have a business that's obviously more creative, I think, you know, you have to really share the visual side of it, or else it doesn't make sense in a way.
Yeah, gotcha. Another question. So say you've got a CEO, he's bored at work and he can't be seen on Facebook or whatever else he might want to look at. So he's sort of scrolling along and he sees me with my brush wizard hat, you know, painting a kitchen or, you know, just creating something nice. So how does LinkedIn work where obviously geographically we're restricted? So do you hashtag your local area? How does it work? So because you obviously you can connect with local businesses for a start, but just in general, how do you get it? So for me, people in Hemel Hempstead or surrounding areas can sort of see it, you know?
Yeah, so when you set up your profile at last for a location, it'll just, I think you just have to put in the closest one. I don't think you can cut, because like mine says Belfast, but I'm not in Belfast, but it was the closest one it would give me. And that comes up sort of quite high up the top of your profile, so people will know where you're based. And I suppose that comes through then, Gary, as you say, you know, you're going to connect with people who maybe are more localized. Even certainly I would want you connecting broader than that, but there's part of that. And then in your posts, you know, you could talk about at times, you know, the area that you work in, just so people are aware of that. But I think people would know that when they're looking for a painter and decorator, you know, they know it has to be somebody within a certain mile. You know, they're not going to start talking to somebody who lives in bloody Wales if they live in Scotland, you know. So they're gonna be conscious of what the location is. But that comes up when you're setting up an account that'll ask you the location, and I would imagine people will check that out because they'll know that they need somebody within, as I say, a certain amount of miles.
And it's kind of like, you know, like I say, you got a CEO watching it and it's a bank holiday weekend coming up. He knows his wife, or, you know, vice versa, whatever, you know, wants all the fence painted, and you can play on their pain points, can't you? You know, sort of.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And that's what the core of the profile is about. And that's some of the things I have written down here. Let me think, see what else I have. Yeah. People, and I've done it, right? So many people on LinkedIn write their profile like a CV. Now, I get that a lot of people on LinkedIn obviously are in, you know, jobs, and that's fine. It has to look like that. But if you're a business owner and you're trying to attract clients, customers, whatever word you want to use on LinkedIn, they do not give a shit about whether you have a fucking certificate in how to do whatever. Like, I'm sure nobody's ever hired you, Gary, and said, before you start painting that room, you wouldn't show me all your qualifications that you have and blah, blah, blah. You know, nobody's ever going to ask you that.
No.
And I've done it. You know, when I started, I did it because I copied what everybody else did. It has to be all about the customer, just exactly as you said, their pain points. So when you, and as I said, again, don't want to go through the whole analysis of a profile, but you need to be thinking those exact things. Do you have somebody at home freaking driving you mental, yapping about something needs redecorate? You know, think about it exactly the way you'd have a conversation with somebody in the pub. It has to be relatable. You want someone to read it and go, oh yeah, that's me. That's exactly what's going on. And that's really, really important. So always think about when anybody reached out to you to do whatever job, think about why did they, what was going on. You know, there could be a whole story behind it. You know, I've just actually redecorated. I'm in a 3-story townhouse, right? I have just redecorated my whole middle floor, which is 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, because that was my 2 kids and they're both away now. So it's sitting to perfection, nobody's allowed to touch it. Bathroom sitting to perfection, nobody's allowed to touch that. So I waited until I got rid of the 2 of them, thinking of changing the locks in the front door too, and not letting on. And there's a story in that, you know.
Yeah.
Have your kids just gone off to uni? You've fumigated the bedroom. I still think COVID started in the corner of my son's bedroom. You know, and all those things, and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Why you know, people are going, oh, LinkedIn's really boring, LinkedIn's this it. And I'm like, well, you know what? If you're going on doing the same thing, all you're doing is perpetrating that. Go on and be you. And that's what I want to see. I go on and I'm effing and blinding, and I got a post removed because I talked about penises, and got an email from LinkedIn saying,
you should be in our group.
Saying, do you know what?
You'll fit right in.
Can I just tell you, I've been in your group for about a week or two. Fuck, I've had better crack in that group than I've had in fucking Basic, and I couldn't tell you. This group's great. And I made that decision that for me to be successful on the platform, I had to stand out. I had to make a decision that, you know, I'm going to be 55 in a couple of weeks. No, you can't believe that either. No. And I don't give a shit anymore. I spent my whole life fitting in, conforming to everything, and now I just don't care. So I go on and I say whatever the fuck I want to say, and that's what attracts. Attracts like.
Yeah, it's like Mark put a comment saying, "Oh, Sharon obviously hasn't seen my videos, but Mark, you know, our group, he's such a character, him and his brother, and they're absolutely brilliant. And you know, they would appeal to people for sure." We've also got Susan saying, got a LinkedIn account but haven't been on it for years, quite old, might need to update, or does she do a new one? So I guess just update, right?
So, and again, funny, I was literally doing a workshop this morning and I was asked the same question. So first of all, when I talk about LinkedIn accounts, it's always a personal account. Don't even go down the route of company accounts, because company pages, they're just not worth the time and effort when it's only maybe you or a couple of you. Really, they're for big companies who have loads of employees. So that's the first thing. Always work out of a personal profile. You can only have one, so make sure that it's a singular message. You know, if you have multiple companies, please only talk about one company or one thing, because it gets really confusing for your audience. That's the other thing. If you have a personal account, profile, whatever, that is from another life, another job, whatever, yes, you can strip it back and redo it. Now, the difficulty comes if you have thousands of connections and those connections are not even vaguely relevant to what you do. At that point, I would consider whether you should just archive that account and start it all over again, because you want the connections to be really, really targeted to exactly what you're doing now. And it's a big task to remove, because you have to remove people individually. If you only had a couple of hundred, I'd be saying grand, fiddle about with the part. But if you've thousands, it's only recently I've been saying to people to do this. And one of the reasons why I am saying it as well, because I had a client, I was managing her account, and there was something holding her back all the time on the account. And I said to her, there's something going on. You're not letting me put out the real you. And finally she said, it's because my old boss is on there.
Right.
And all these people I worked with, and I don't want them thinking, oh, fuck, who does your woman think she is now? She's this, isn't it? I said, right, well, you know what? Would you be happy that we just deleted the whole lot and started all over again? And she went, oh my God, yes, that would be heaven. So just be really conscious of that.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers that question anyway.
Yeah.
Delete the whole lot and start it all over. Blank canvas. I would say, painter, decorator, like a wee blank. There's nothing worse, and like I know tradespeople would think this, having to go in and correct somebody else's mistake, having to unravel what somebody else has done. Everybody likes a blank canvas. So why not make a decision? I'm going to fucking delete the whole lot. Let's just start it and do it properly.
Yeah, and I should imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, but when I've dabbled a little bit with LinkedIn, and I know you've looked at my profile and it's shocking, but you can build it quite quick in the sense of looking at local businesses and connecting with people. And I know there is a restriction, but it's not quite as bad as what Facebook is in friend requesting and stuff like that. So if you do it daily, you can build up connections quite quickly, can't you?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's dependent on the people actually accepting the connections. You know, you can send connection requests, but you can't dictate who's going to actually accept them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't send anything until you have a profile really, you know, that you're really proud of and that you really love. Because obviously that naturally when you send a connection request, people would go and check out your profile and they'll make a decision as to whether they want to accept that request or not. So you want your profile really, really all singing, all dancing.
Quick question as well on profile.
Yeah.
So, you know, I find when I do particular jobs, painting jobs like hand painted kitchens, stuff like that, I earn more money. Would you advise people to be advertising or their profile showing, one, sort of what jobs they like doing, and two, where they earn the most money perhaps? Would you sort of niche down rather than just a general painter and decorator?
If you can get the more targeted you can get, the better. And it's one of the things I have actually down here on my notes, because I think that, I mean, you know your business way better than I do, Gary. I thought that would have been a really difficult thing to do, because everybody needs a painter and decorator. This is where I think that people maybe would be struggling a wee bit with LinkedIn when you have a consumer-based business, because LinkedIn is used much more for a business-based, you know, and because you can filter and target and whatever by particular businesses. And funny, one of the things that I have, and I'll just actually talk about that while we're on about audience and target and whatever. I mean, if you have a particular type of client, a customer that you want, fucking brilliant. If you can target that, that's amazing. I wasn't sure if it was something that you would be able to do, because in my head I was thinking, well, sure, anybody and everybody can use a painter, decorator, whatever, and that then makes it very difficult as to, well, who am I going to talk to on the platform? You know, who's going to be my audience? But do you feel that you can niche in some way there?
Well, a couple of questions maybe. Like, say a painter likes doing schools perhaps. Can you, just as one example, so say it's more commercial stuff, doctors' surgeries, schools, you know, where they might earn a bit more money, can you use LinkedIn to specifically target sort of schools and stuff?
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were solely talking about domestic.
No, but also, yeah, going on to that as well for domestic.
But can you can you niche in domestic?
There's lots of people do, yeah.
In what respect?
So you get sprayers, so there might be people that specialize in spraying UPVC windows, that kind of stuff. People that specialize in wallpapering.
All right, okay, but it's not actually the end user. They're not specializing in the end user who's using it. They're specializing in what they're offering.
Not particularly, but then if there's certain kind of services like spraying kitchens or something like that, it might potentially be, well, not necessarily more wealthier people, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
no, I do, yeah. It's you always need to think about it from the end user perspective rather than what it is that you're actually providing. So I mean, commercial is a dream on LinkedIn for you, because that's an easy one. Yes, you can set up, you can search by education, you can search by healthcare, you can search. It's when it's a particular person, it makes it more difficult.
Yeah. So then looking at it, so say like commercial wise, I know some guys sort of specialize in, you know, spraying like the metal cladding and all that sort of stuff. It would be really beneficial, wouldn't it?
1,000,000%. If you are thinking of if you are involved in commercial project, and I obviously, I mean, I would understand that they're the high income generating projects and jobs for yourselves. You need to be all over LinkedIn like a rash. I mean, 1,000,000%. I know a lot of those things do go out to tender, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But it's like a couple of our sponsors, and I know like Darren in particular from Simply Coatings, he provides products for exteriors and spraying and stuff like that. And whenever I've spoken to him, he always says it's a great game to be in. It's really good money. Not everybody wants to do commercial stuff and love doing domestic stuff, but no, it's just interesting because, like I say, for connecting with businesses, for me, for like Brush Wizards, it's been invaluable where I can message people direct and where I would never find them before. So I'm just looking at it from, for my members, if they were to contact, like, look at schools or whatever areas they want to perhaps get into.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few things down here from commercial wise, what have I got? Yeah, you would have things like, property management companies and letting agents and all that. You could look at that. You can look at facilities managers, within organizations. They'll be the one that will be sort of dictating that. There's a wealth of stuff. From a domestic perspective, which, as I say, would be that wee bit harder. These were some of the ideas. If you're happy for me to share, this is what
absolutely.
I came up with last night. I was on a roll actually last night. So if you want to use LinkedIn solely for domestic, so it's like, right, anybody can have their house painted. So who the fuck am I going to talk to, or what am I going to talk about, or who am I going to bring into my world? This is my perspective. Don't go on to LinkedIn solely focused on the customer, right? You need to look way broader than that, because you're going to struggle to target a customer, as I'm saying, because it can be anybody. So where the hell are you going to start? So let's look way broader than who the customer is, right? So you might want, now there's not that many trades on LinkedIn, but you might want to consider connecting with other trades, because you probably all can refer, like if somebody's getting a plaster in, they're probably going to want a decorator after something's been plastered. So think about that for a starting point. Think about other trades people. You might want to think about connecting with architects, builders, anybody in construction, interior designers, to me would be a big one, garden designers, estate agents, letting agents, security. I mean, I literally was on a roll last night. Security systems, heating systems, attic conversions, extensions, people that do extensions, even mortgage lenders. Think broad. Anybody who would say, oh, I need to get a bigger mortgage because we're doing an extension, blah. I know somebody who does painting and decorating if you need. So this is what I want you to go away and think about. Products, paint suppliers, brush suppliers, kitchen and bathroom suppliers, appliances, computer IT and office equipment, because so many people now have home offices, fabric and upholstery people, furniture people. Keep thinking broad.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a tradesperson to be referred.
Because even looking at my point of view, a lot of kitchens I do is for a company local to me in Harpenden. I know they're on LinkedIn. So if you're, even if it's a kitchen installer, whether you're hand painting the cabinets or if they're just installing a kitchen, chances are a kitchen's going to need to be painted after.
Correct.
So there's tons and tons of
There's
opportunities.
Honestly, when I started doing this last night, and I was thinking, well, who else? And then it was like, oh, but that, oh, then it'd be that, then it'd be those, then it'd be them. That if anybody who's getting any sort of anything done in their house, no matter what, it potentially could be looking a painter decorator. There's one, empty nester, kids away to uni, want to get everything done. Kids have got married. They need to do a spare room for, I don't know, a new baby, or you could look. There's so many things, and this is what I want people to come away today, Gary, and go, fuck, I never thought of that.
And what's good as well, we're the last trade in, so literally we can connect with every single trade.
Carpet cleaning, there's another one.
Yeah, it's endless, isn't it?
It is endless. That's why the potential is massive if you do it right.
So you can search for these companies in your local area.
Correct.
Message them.
With the free version, you can filter enough that you would be able to connect Now, you send a connection request, you are reliant on them accepting on the free version for you to message them. You can message people directly through Sales Navigator without being connected to them, but I would not suggest that you start handing out money for Sales Navigator at the stage that you're at. It's a lot of money, and I don't think it's worth it. I would rather that you start small and build it and build confidence and understanding of how the platform works.
Yeah, but if you're like, your profile's brilliant, it's clearly, there's no mistake in what you do. You friend request someone who lives in Hemel Hempstead, who's a plasterer or whatever, they look at your profile, oh, he's a painter and decorator in Hemel. It's a no-brainer, connect to see what he's got to say to me. Because
you want it to work both ways, and make sure you're very clear about, it's not all I want you to refer everything to me. It's, you need to refer back, you know, so you know, make that clear as well, and it's a very much a collaborative thing. You know, and be, you know, be a nice person about it. Like, don't just take everything and not give back.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, for working on commercial stuff, it's a dream, because you can search for whatever type of commercial stuff you want to do. For domestic stuff, yes, you can post and people will see it, and you know, you can work on people's pain points about not wanting to rub down hall stairs and landing on a weekend after a busy week in the office. But then you can also connect with other local trades and businesses where, you know, afterwards they're going to get a painter and decorator in, and just build up your network of contacts. And even if they don't use you, if you post regular, they're going to see the quality of your work and reach out to you.
Absolutely. And the one thing I would say, please, is have fun. Like, most tradespeople are fun. Like, I have, my painter is fucking hilarious, you know, and that's how, you know, yous are known like that, like, the, you know, yous are good crap, you know, show that.
Yeah.
Make sure you show that. Show when you've fucked things up, show that you're just human, and just really have fun. Don't go onto LinkedIn and think, oh my God, I have to be this, I have to be that. Look, everybody else is being really, ignore everybody and just do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, even with my brush wizard stuff, I contact companies and, you know, MDs or CEOs or whatever, but I'm just myself, you know, it doesn't matter to me what sort of position they've got. Is that everyone's just a human, aren't they? So
everybody still has to go to the toilet.
Exactly, yeah. No, it's been great. Yeah, lots of love going your way, people loving your personality and your humor. So it's great to get guest speakers.
He mustn't get out much. He's not get out much. No.
No, bloody decorating, are we?
Stuck in bloody houses.
Or we get home or we're doing quotes or looking at jobs. But no, there's some great characters in my group, and you know, if you can just bring that personality out as well as showing off your work, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, excellent. Well, there's no questions as such, but I believe you've covered so much, and it's going to spike interest, I'm sure, with a lot of members to give it a go. And just finally, before we leave, just one more question's come to mind. How regular do you need to post?
Yeah, I get asked this all the time, and we're a bit obsessive about posting. And I say to people, do you know what? Just forget about it. Just let's just not post, because, like, even when I coach clients, coaching or posting is like the second last thing that we do. There's so much needs to go in place. Be really clear about what it is you want to do on the platform, what you're about, whether it is you decide that you're going to niche into education or whatever. Get that clarity first. Build that profile, a really good profile around it. Then brings people into your world. You'd be wanting a couple of hundred connections before you even should consider posting, or else you're just posting into a black hole.
Right.
Even before you post again, what I would be doing, and this is really important and not enough people do it, you need to be engaging in other people's posts.
Yeah.
LinkedIn wants to see that you are using the platform as a two-way conversation. Then when you do come to post, it will actually favor your posts because it has seen that you're using it properly.
Yeah.
Check out what other people are doing. Check out what people are saying. you know, don't just throw out random posts. And this is what I see when people say, oh, my post don't get an engagement, blah, blah, blah. And then when I look, I'm like, really? Would that inspire you to stop?
Yeah.
And, you know, so be really, just do the groundwork. Don't jump into it. LinkedIn's a slow burner. Don't jump into anything. Take it in stages, take it really simple steps, and just build it and build it and build it. And don't worry, but don't put the stress on about posting until you really feel that you're really clear on everything, and then you go, yeah, I think I could put something out now.
Yeah, and I guess with all social media, it's all a slow burner. You don't get instant results, but just by speaking to you, I'd be really interested if someone did give it a go, or if someone worked with you, just to see how it could go, because it sounds to me there's far more opportunity to get business than perhaps posting in a local Facebook group, or where they don't let you do it anyway half the time. And yeah, you know, I'm getting different trainings in about Instagram and stuff like that, but all I can say is, from my point of view and the connections I've made, it's been very quick and very easy to speak to people direct quite quickly. So, you know, I'm a big fan of it, albeit my profile is shocking.
Yeah, we'll discuss that afterwards. Yeah, I think it's so much about how, I hate the word mindset. I'm going to say it, but I bloody hate that word. But people have such a perception of what the platform is about, and you need to shift that and change that, and just go onto the platform and be really open about, and just think, you know what, I'm just gonna go with this.
Yeah.
And just keep experimenting and doing things, and you know, people say, oh, what time should I post and when should I post? And I go, do whatever the fuck you want. Who made the decision that you had to post at 10:15 on a Wednesday standing on one leg? Like, who even fucking made that up? Like, some bloody analytics somewhere.
Yeah.
Just do you, and play about with it and have fun with it, and just see what happens.
Yeah. Brilliant, Sharon. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been one of my favourite talks, in all honesty.
You definitely need to get out more.
That's what happens when you get to my age, you know. This is my excitement. But no, cheers for coming on, and I'll speak to you afterwards. But appreciate everybody jumping on. And yeah, a few people, Ken saying sound advice. Need some sun, Gary. Ken saying I need some sun. Yeah, do you know what, I'm not that pale. It's I've got a dodgy camera. Susan saying it's been a great chat. Yeah, so everyone's saying thank you very much. They really enjoyed it. So
good.
I'll catch up with you soon. And Sharon, and cheers everybody for watching. Take care.
Bye everybody. Bye.